Lembaga Tabung Haji recently announced that it will be paying its depositors hibah or dividends for 2018 after restoring its balance sheet. Its Chief Executive Officer, Datuk Sri Zukri Samad, warned depositors not to expect much because of the weak performance of the equities market last year. We at Ringgit Sense Plus wanted to know, are there alternatives for Muslims to fund their Hajj or pilgrimage besides depositing their money in Tabung Haji? Well, we asked a licensed financial advisor, what's the best way to grow your money for your Hajj?
If you've never opened a Tabung Haji account before, here's a brief explanation of how it works. The normal route to perform the Hajj is through Lembaga Tabung Haji. How you do this is simple. Register your name by opening an account with them. Once you open an account, you need to have at least 1,300 ringgit in your account to get your name in the waiting list for Hajj registration. If you don't have the 1,300 ringgit, you can use your EPF money to transfer into your Tabung Haji account. The waiting list works on a first-come, first-served basis, so it may take you a few years before your turn comes up, so register early. When your turn does come up, let's say it's this year, then you need to have 9,980 ringgit in your account to pay for your Hajj. Tabung Haji heavily subsidizes the actual cost, and this amount will probably increase over the next few years with inflation. By the time your turn does come up a few years down the road, you probably need more than that. The advantage of saving money with Tabung Haji is that depositors do not have to pay zakat for money saved with them. We asked Rafiq Hidayat, a licensed financial planner and advisor, for his advice.
The maximum amount that I would advise most of my clients to save is the 9,980. The reason being is that while Tabung Haji has been giving good returns, net of zakat, it's actually only limited to the first 9,980 ringgit. So, and if you had gone for Hajj, then the additional bonus for people who are going to Hajj is not provided to you. So anything above 9,980 ringgit, you just get the basic dividend or hibah given to you. So I would then advise anything more than that, you save in other similar instruments.
Rafiq says there are a few alternatives available that are also Sharia compliant.
One of the similar options with Tabung Haji is that you can use the Amanah Harta Nawami Putra or AHB. So it's actually a unit trust fund investing in commercial properties in KL, in which it's also similar to Tabung Haji, it's net of zakat. So whatever returns or dividends or hibah that you get, you don't have to deduct the zakat anymore. So historical returns, they have been giving an average between 2.8 to 3.3% every 6 months. So every 6 months, the dividend would then be deposited into your Maybank account, and then you would actually have to physically transfer it back. So it's not automatically reinvested. So that's the only pain part with regards to using AHB as your vehicle. But it gives you a higher annual return compared to Tabung Haji. The other option that you might want to use without taking too much risk is actually ASB. So, okay, ASB is known to give generally higher returns, but if you take into account the zakat portion on the capital that is then invested, then the returns are then back comparable to Tabung Haji. However, if you then choose the option of ASB financing, then the returns that you're talking about would be slightly different. You're talking about higher returns, but less payable in terms of the zakat that you have to pay. So, in addition to that, you can still look into other types of investments, depending on the horizon. So, let's say you're talking about 10-year horizon with regards to the investment. So, you can look into things like unit trusts. You can look into things like REITs, or even stocks. Just be careful in terms of the selections of your portfolio so that you then get to your goal.
There are always other investment instruments such as unit trusts and property, but you do have to pay the zakat for the profits gained on your own. Just remember that most investments do not have guaranteed returns and you can lose your money.
Okay, so I personally believe that Tabung Haji should be a savings instrument instead of investment instrument, because the main purpose of Tabung Haji in itself was to help Malaysians to go for pilgrimage. It's actually not to help Malaysians go rich, which is the main reason for investment vehicles. Okay, so taking that into account, I would say Tabung Haji is a savings account. It's a high-yielding savings account, okay, in which it also has the added benefit that it's net of zakat. Means for the Muslim depositors, you do not have to pay at the additional 2.5% of the capital that is then saved in Tabung Haji. Okay. However, if you're looking to use it purely as a tool in order to generate or accumulate wealth, I would suggest to look into other instruments.
Normally, the waiting period before your Hajj turn comes up is quite long, so investors would normally have a time horizon of 10 years or more.
Actually, if you have 10 years, even if you save Tabung Haji, you're talking about 50 to 60 ringgit a month. You're not even talking about percentage of your income. It's just like maybe one full tank worth of petrol. So that's the amount that you'll be saving on a monthly basis for the next 10 years. And able to do that, then you should be able to go for Hajj whenever that time is. But if, let's say, you want to go for the packages and you're choosing the most expensive package, so let's take example the 149,990 package. So obviously you need to save a lot more. So, but the amount of people who will be able to save for that kind of thing is probably your top 20% of income earners in Malaysia.
There are also authorized travel agents that offer Hajj packages with better amenities like nicer hotels. Just looking at Tabung Haji's travel package, the most expensive one is almost 200,000 ringgit. If you want to go for these packages, then you would definitely need to save up more money for when your turn comes.